Hi, this is Mr. Payton. Welcome to the Science of Everything, episode 16. For this episode, I want to talk about something that's completely outside the classroom, but I think it's important to share, and that is holidays. Now, that may seem like a very strange topic to bring up in a series called The Science of Everything, but for me, it's very important. I happen to be the father of a beautiful 7-year-old daughter. And very early on, one of my biggest concerns was the fact that she is being raised in a far better financial situation than I ever had. She has a lot more choices, a lot more opportunities. Many of the older people that I know who have young people who grew up in similar situations have dealt with a lot of problems based around the fact that their kids didn't have to work as hard or didn't have to put forth the same level of effort to live as good, if not a better life. And so one of the things I wanted to make sure I did is that I don't want my daughter to grow up feeling entitled. I don't want her to be spoiled. And so 2 years ago, I stopped giving her Christmas presents. And when I first told people this, they thought it was the most horrible thing ever. What I did is, instead of giving her presents on Christmas, I started to give her presents on Thanksgiving. I did that for two reasons. One, I personally don't believe that Christmas is a time where people should go stand around a tree and open up presents. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but for me personally, based on my religious background and just my own personal beliefs, I don't believe that's what Christmas should be about. I believe that Christmas should be about giving. And so I was trying to figure out a way to change the narrative for my daughter so that she would grow up and have a different idea about it. So the first thing we did is we started to buy her classmates gifts. So this is back even when she was in preschool. I found out how many boys and girls were at the school, and I bought some generic gifts for boys and generic gifts for girls that I thought would be appropriate for that age group. And it went really well, and she enjoyed handing out gifts. The following year, she was in kindergarten, and we did something very similar, got everybody gifts and handed those out. Simultaneously, I also had her find, one of those Christmas angel trees, and we went and found a little girl that was around her age, and we bought her presents, and she really seemed to enjoy that. Again, she still received the presents on Thanksgiving, and so I replaced one for the other. So now Thanksgiving has a lot more, emphasis for her. But one of the other reasons why I did that is because I didn't want my daughter to think I didn't love her and I didn't want to give her presents because she's too young to really understand why I'm doing this. So I exchanged one holiday for the other. Eventually, I probably won't have to give her as many gifts or probably won't need to or whatever. I'm not sure how that's going to go, but I'm taking it year by year. Just recently, I had my 30-year reunion, and many of my former athletes I invited there too, because I figured if I'm going to be at my old school, let's get some of my former players that I coached at my old high school there on a night where I was celebrating my 30-year reunion. So I was having a conversation. A lot of them are young African-American men, and we were talking about this, and I said, just something I want to share with you guys. We were talking about kids and things to do, and they were asking me advice. And I said, one of the things I'm doing is that I've kind of exchanged Thanksgiving for Christmas, and I told them the whole situation that I just shared with you. And they really thought it was cool. And so this year, I'm trying to step it up a little bit more. A friend of mine helped me kind of wrap up her gifts this year, almost like an Easter basket, because I felt like the way that Thanksgiving is celebrated, that might work out. So her gifts are all wrapped in a little basket and cellophane and have a little bow on it. And one of the things I'm going to start doing, this will be a new thing this year, is we'll go somewhere to eat and I will formally thank her for being my daughter, hand her a card and give her her presents. And so I feel like it's a good exchange. So far, it's been going well. And so for Thanksgiving, I thank my daughter for being my daughter with gifts. And on Christmas, we will continue to purchase gifts for others, and she will now receive a gift from me. What does this have to do with science? What does this have to do with this part of my series? For me, this is an experiment. It's science to some extent. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm not sure if this is going to work. I don't know if she's going to grow up and hate me for it. I have no idea. All I know is that I've watched a lot of young people get between the ages of 10 and 18 and just really, being an educator, you hear all this stuff. You hear kids talk about, my mom and dad sucked. They didn't buy me this. I didn't get a new phone. I didn't get new shoes. And I just think to myself, when did Christmas become, I have to have something better than last year? And that's what I'm trying to head off with my little one. Now, you might say, well, now she's just going to want better gifts on Thanksgiving. That's not my plan. My plan is not to up it each year. My plan is just to, right now, transition my daughter from one holiday to the next, but to also show her that I love her. Hopefully, as she gets older, I can talk to her about the fact that there may not be the need for as many gifts or any gifts at all to show that I love her, that that's not how we show how we love people. But that's going to be an experiment in itself. So I just thought it might be appropriate to share something like this. Again, it's something that's very personal to me, but it is very much so an experiment. Anybody who parents knows that parenting is an experiment. There's no manual for it. There's no perfect way to do it. There are definitely some things that you hear from friends or just from reading things that seem to work better than others. Keyword, seem to. Every child is different. Every circumstance is different. All parents are different. All children are different. And so you just do the best that you can. And so I just thought it would be interesting to share this with you, get some feedback, hear what people think about this type of idea. Some of you may hate it. Some of you may love it. Some of you may have more questions. But that's what I'm doing. Thanksgiving will be a time for me to thank my daughter for being my daughter. And Christmas will be a time for us to share and give to others, because that's my understanding of what Christmas is. There was a sacrifice made for me, and every Christmas I try to honor that by giving to others and making a sacrifice for others. So this was a very different topic, obviously, a little more personal, a little deeper than some of the other things we've talked about. I hope it has some benefit for you. I really thank everybody who is watching this and been participating in the things that I'm doing here. Just trying to do my part as an educator, as a member of the village, in this gigantic world of humanity. I hope that I'm putting something good out there in the world. Thank you, and enjoy your holidays.